What's up? What's up, peoples? How's
What's up,
everyone
people?
doing? Hey, y'all
Man,
too.
yeah, this your boy Terrence House
It's your boy Siege.
with Elephant Group, and we are glad and so excited to be on tonight for a special edition episode of Life Behind the Art featuring
Yeah.
community activist Toni Sutton.
Oh
Oh
man, call it
yeah,
what you want. Activist champion, man. Listen, she is the she like the phone book. She like the 411.com of the community, man. And I'm excited about tonight. Faith, family, and community. Oh, we switched it
community.
up. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. We'll switch it up. Hey man, before we get this thing started, we're gonna have Toni Sutton with you guys very, very soon. Y'all stick with us. Make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you tell everybody you need to get this good information. Because when we get back from this commercial break, we're gonna have Toni Sutton.
it's
EG.
going down.
See, your problem is you can't see from that floor you on. You ain't know what was coming. We seen it though. Ow!
Entrepreneur status, we cut from a different fabric. I still remember hiding that stuff in the kitchen cabinet. The label really started from nothing and made magic. Now we seem to get attention, it's like the parade passing wave. When it's pertaining to business, you gotta tag us, creating our own resource, grateful to pay taxes. A different bracket, and believe me, I ain't bragging. I'm just glad that I achieve things you could only imagine. Signed to a label, fit for a king clothing. We had it up for purchase, quick as the store open.
Yeah.
What's happening? What's happening? What's up, Miss Toni? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, we are doing well, man. We are absolutely honored to have you on this episode of Life Behind Art. We are absolutely thrilled. You ready for this?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We are excited to have you. We know you are like the 411 to the Spartanburg community. And we just want the listeners just to get a sneak peek of the wisdom and knowledge that you hold and share. So let's jump off. Let's get this thing started.
Let's do it.
So Toni, first question: who is Toni Sutton? For all the viewers, who is Toni Sutton?
I am a mother, grandmother, auntie. I'm someone that cares deeply about my community. I'm very serious about my community. Unity in it, that's what I'm about. There has to be some kind of organization to it and respect. So I like building relationships and communication.
Absolutely. Can you hear us good? Can we have a little bit of technicality there?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I should get the headphones or not.
Well, that's all right.
Can you hear us good, Miss Toni?
I can hear you a little bit.
Okay.
I have a little bit of that.
Okay. So just to kind of to start this off, what does community activist mean? To you, and what led you to becoming one? We can call you a lot of things, community champion. We can say it a lot of different ways, but to you, what does that mean? What led you to becoming one?
Well, I just needed to be involved. I started seeing things happen in the community. I started noticing changes. I started things being torn down, things being built up, and I didn't know what was going on. And when the more I started, I call it sipping tea. I started going to meetings and sitting back and just observing until I realized that I can't just sit here and observe and not, have my voice heard. There's a lot going on all over America. And I think it's important that we understand the ins and outs of government and how powerful our voice can be when we unite and give it power. Because one voice is not going to be heard. It's got to be united.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. That's power in that, and I think that's exactly what that is. Hey, listen, we're having a little bit of issue hearing you. Ms. Toni, can you here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break real fast. Stay with us, guys. We want to make sure y'all can hear this. This information is so good, and y'all know how technology can be. Okay, so Ms. Toni, we're gonna have you log off and right back on. We're gonna play this quick video here, and then we'll have Miss Toni right back, okay? Because we want to make sure that you guys can hear this, and of course, technology has a mind of its own. Okay, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Right back.
Come on, y'all make noise one time. Can I do something? Talk to him, see. Listen, see, I was thinking, right? Watch this. I need y'all to like vibe out with me real quick, okay? And I started thinking, I was like, you know what this feels like to me? This feels like Black History. Can we talk to him? Hey, I wanna celebrate this life forever. Nothing to dream. They're scared of my resources, like how did he get a seat? Home in the Carolinas, the South know how to eat. And anytime I came in the gym, I brought a team. We next. We never flexed on y'all, we break bread, it's love. No man above his brothers, we shake hands, that's strength. Teaching us that wealth is in our hands. Death should come natural, death is not in our plans. That's a setup, you can wait for that. First get a leg up, never get comfortable. Soon as you wake up, make your bed up, like I'll be back for dinner. Ain't no sleep for the dreamers. God gave us purpose. The storm gave us FEMA. We ain't waiting on your rescue when it's easier to leave us. Rather walk on water a little farther than Peter. Got a lawyer all nines in case you try to George sink us. Raise a whole generation since y'all killing all our leaders. See, Jesus. I wanna celebrate this life forever. He the hope for tomorrow. Pro-believer, they scared to belong to a genre. Christian rapper, more than that, but I ain't scared of that. Remember I wrote that letter to Kanye, I was prepared for that. It surprised you. These youngins making music they can die to. Gave them everything they wanted, still got lied to. Now they fighting over who to divide it to. Pennies on pennies, but tell that to who you provide to. That's facts. Remember, they used to clown on who the blackest. Now they expound on who the blackest. Black luxury, lure us in with our taxes. Lovers on Black Friday, they want us to hustle backwards. Now this is Throwback Thursday, Black Wall Street. They step over acorns, not expecting an oak tree. Baby just born, leave acorns in his car seat. And tell him when he grow up, be tall enough that we all see. Shorty, I wanna celebrate this life forever. I'm living it, not dreaming it. We getting it, Black luxury. Celebrate this life forever. I'm living it, not dreaming it. We getting it, Black luxury. The meek shall inherit the earth. Oh yeah, I'm coming for everything. I put that on Mamba. Give me 24 seconds, and I will have 8.
All right.
There we go.
Hey.
All right,
There
there
we
we go.
go.
We can try it again. Y'all know how technology gets sometimes. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We appreciate it. That right there was Black Luxury, man. Shout out to the GOAT. We have our own, the GOAT Smith Ali, excuse me. We have our own version of Black Luxury right now because I believe the biggest luxury that we have is information. We're in an informational time. We have access, man. Ain't nothing you can't find, ain't nothing you can't discover. There's nothing you can't research. We're going to really dive into this thing. You had just mentioned about being a community activist to you, was just saying that, hey, I can't sit back and just watch, a unified effort, and whether that be whatever role you play in that, whether that's the informational piece or, which I know you do a lot. Like I said, you're literally like my news, like, and I watch your page to know what's going on,
Thank you.
That's a big thing. News, what you got?
Yeah, so we're gonna keep this thing going. We know racial injustice is still relevant naturally and locally. I know on the Spartanburg Equity Index, white per capita is almost twice, is more than twice as that of blacks and Hispanics, the household per
Mm-hmm.
capita. And blacks and Hispanics are twice more living in poverty than whites. So even locally, there's a lot of inequities and injustices that people of color face on a day-to-day uh, basis. So, what are your thoughts, Tony, on these inequities that we're dealing with locally in Spartanburg?
Well, locally, I think we can break that down into two categories. We have the county of Spartanburg and we have the city of Spartanburg. And when you're talking about the county of Spartanburg, we really can't make an impact there until we start doing more into the city of Spartanburg. The city of Spartanburg is going to give us, we'll have more representation in the city of Spartanburg. Our numbers are more. We're almost 50% of the city of Spartanburg, only 20% of the county, which is why we only have one black county councilman. Um, we have to inside the city of Spartanburg, we have a lot of opportunities. We have I mean, you can just walk around and see most of our leadership is black. We have Amplify program. We have the Start Me program with Lakeisha Whitman. We have programs inside the city of Spartanburg that will promote black-owned business entrepreneurship. County, not so much. you know, it's it's about representation and and where our voices are heard. Because just not just the voice, we have to have numbers behind that voice.
Yeah, no, that's a good point you make. I've heard and I've quoted it for a while. Man, Spartanburg is 40% black, 46%, black, and then you realize, well, that's in the city, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and the county is such a disparity. Um, but there is so much that's available in the city. We are testament to that. For the
Mm-hmm.
way we're able to function, we've been able to come across as being um, through some of the people you just mentioned, like the Start Me program and No Side Development, all those. And my thing is, man, there are so many, even just if we just talking business, minority business, who really don't know how much is
Hmm.
available. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess my question would be: is it they don't know, or is it that we just won't take advantage of it? I mean, I guess that's something that we have to. But I don't think that the information is out there. Um, I don't know enough, maybe.
Um, it's not out there enough, and it's not, and it's
Hmm.
actually it's both. It's been times they put the information out there and people are afraid to take advantage of it. Just like our home ownership, they have home ownership classes and courses that help people with low income obtain home ownership. They have a hard problem, a real hard, you know, to get people to actually sign up for those courses to get the home ownership. We have a hard time getting people to come to town hall meetings,
So
get
hold on,
home.
let's sit there for a second. So there's some opportunities for home ownership, and it's hard to get people to sign up for
Yeah.
right. Okay, so
Wow.
all of us listening, that I ain't gonna lie, man. That we deal with it even with youth. Sometimes you can present stuff for youth and say, "Hey, this is free. Hey, just come do it." And it
Hmm.
seems like sometimes you have the hardest time,
Mm-hmm.
and we say, "Well, it's available. It's here." So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? You said, I mean, sometimes we are maybe afraid to, or
We
we're
are.
scared of
We
it. You
we
kind of
don't
mentioned that. What do you?
we don't have a trust of government, and which is understandable. We've been,
Right.
everybody we've trusted lied to us, um, and now that we've gotten to a place that we've actually have the leadership, and which I think no government is perfect, no organization is perfect, but I do think we have enough people in leadership within the city of Spartanburg to get things rolling, to get opportunities out there, to get you the information you need, and
Right.
we don't have, and still there are people that don't trust it and they would rather sit back and and
Right.
it's kind of, and what I've been doing, I've been trying to connect the people that I know are the voices of their generation and give them the
Hmm.
information and maybe they'll put it out there.
Hmm.
Great
Because
point.
if you get it from somebody that you trust,
Right.
then you're more likely to try it.
Oh
That's
man,
right.
that's news. You
That's
want to interject
that's
right there?
smart. That's
Let maybe
smart,
some of your
man.
thoughts to my.
Yeah, yeah. Cause a lot of times, right, it can be a great resource, the resource that's needed to propel us, but because we don't trust the government or trust the source that it's coming from, we don't utilize it. So it's like, what's the catch? Like they done did this before. So you telling me how is this product or this service going to be different? Oh, they just doing this. There's alternative motive, something behind. And just to be clear, for every organization, business organization, they are motivated by the bottom line. And so if they see something will affect their bottom line, then they will have meetings and meetings and meetings trying to figure out the best strategy to make sure the bottom line isn't damaged or affected. And they're going to release some of the less, some PR that would not damage the perception of the company, right? And a lot of times, especially as Black people, man, we done been hurt by many generations of government in Spartanburg. I hear from my pops, I hear from a lot of older people about how the city and the county was supposed to do this, but they didn't do it. Or representations and leaders said this, but it never happened. These leaders are only in the game for themselves and have forgotten about their own community where they came from. And like all of these narratives are in place. And so when we hear about a new resource or something that can benefit us, we admittedly have those narratives running through our minds, right? Like, okay, can I trust this? Who is it coming from? What's the history of this organization? Nah, I'm gonna wait. Nah, I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna wait. And this is my last thing saying before we move forward. A lot of people, especially white people, definitely people who haven't been raised in poverty, people in poverty do not wake up and say, hey, what can I do today that will mess up my life even more? No one wakes up and think what bad decision can they make that would that would take them three steps back. They make the best decision now for what they are presented with. So if the decisions they are presented, choices they are presented with are bad options or unhealthy options, they're gonna choose the best unhealthy option, right? And we have to really have to come up with a way to regain trust, be strategic, be intentional, and yeah, that's it. I ain't gonna rabble.
It's about holding each other accountable too.
Yeah,
that's why I made the post about grassroots being so important, because when people grow up too high, sometimes they forget where they come from and they throw shade on the rest of the community. We have to keep planting the seeds. So, and somewhere along the way, one of the generation, my generation, or the generation before me, dropped the ball of passing that baton so they can keep the marathon going, so they can keep planting the seeds. And there was no mentorship to raise up the next generation of leaders. And that's just everywhere around America. Look how we got 78-year-old white men running for president. I mean, our life expectancy here is like, what, 76? Right. So, I mean, there's a problem everywhere. And in somewhere, the whole generation either lost trust in the government, lost interest. We started relying on the last generation before us to take care of everything, even in the community. When you go out and start volunteering, you see mostly seniors. You hardly see anybody my age or the younger generation, and that's a problem because seniors are not going to be here forever. Leadership,
that's a great
mostly seniors.
point, because like I really think about like how can we leverage, you know, when it comes to even just our allies. And I hope that leverage word is not I'm not saying it in a derogatory way, but it's just a way that, I mean, you know, you have to learn how to benefit from relationships, how to leverage relationships, you know. And so you're talking about, you know, trusting the government. Well, maybe it's the way I see it, you know, who is sharing the information. That's why I think it's so important that we have people like you. We create smaller groups that say, hey, here's some good information, here's some good meat, right? And then we can start distributing that amongst ourselves, because if it's coming from you, if it's coming from me, then somebody will say, okay, you know what I'm saying? A lot better than I was. Yeah, I could have said the same thing that so-and-so said, but and a lot of times it's because I've been, you know, I used this program. I was able to get this. We were able to get funds over here. So I think it's just as important that we can continue to push forward. That's why it's so important that these black businesses and everything we're doing is successful and prosperous, because then it's going to create the next person to say, okay, I can walk in that path because I seen them do it. We don't see it enough, you know.
Right,
And
right.
when we see it work for one person, we take it out, and then the leverage thing is right. If we're gonna put people in government, they got to be able to give us something. If we're gonna vote them
Mm-hmm.
into office, we need to hold them accountable for what we voted them into the office for. If they're not gonna come through what we said that they said they're gonna come through, we're gonna just vote them out. I
Man,
mean, that's the truth. I
Yeah.
mean, we have to hope. We need more citizen oversight. We need to We need to have someone that's gonna sit there and watch everything they vote on,
Right.
why they vote on it, and be able to call them or email them behind the scenes and say, well, why did you do that when this is what
Right.
we asked for? And see if they don't give us a good enough answer, then okay, we know what
Mm-hmm.
to do next. We're gonna go ahead and plant that new seed in the community, get somebody else to grow on up and push you on up out your position.
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing right there to me.
Uh-huh.
We have to be
Citizen.
strategic enough to do that, and I think
Mm-hmm.
now is the right temperature. It has to be because it has to be important to people, and right now it seems
Mm-hmm.
to be more important. People are more willing to listen. People are researching more and more.
Yeah.
And if we have these things in place to present to them, like, hey, we're gonna make sure that this done, and when people start anybody, if it's we talking about the church, when you
Mm-hmm.
see your tithes and offering going to us something, well, you ain't gonna have no problem giving it. But when you don't see it
Yeah.
going to us nothing, you gonna have an issue with it, right? And
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing I think applies to this.
Yeah.
When we plant that seed and sow into you, and like you say, you're supposed to be growing over here for us and with us, and we don't see it. Well, now we have an issue. The whole thing is flawed. The whole thing
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
flawed. I have
Right.
a
Right.
next question. So you mentioned
And
earlier. Uh,
right before you move on, Siege, citizen oversight in the foundation stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have witnessed in the corporate world that when they make it public
Mm-hmm.
to the community and want to bring on community oversight committee or bring on people, they have already had 20 meetings
mm,
Yes.
discussing it, and they already have uh, a way to go about it, a predetermined method that they want to
Mm-hmm.
establish and do. But just to check the box, now let's
Mm-hmm.
bring in community members to make it seem like they've been involved in this
Mm-hmm.
decision process and attribute to it. So community insight in the foundation phase, when the ideal or concept is first thought of, no, not don't just throw black people or brown people in the
Exactly.
equation to check a box when y'all already have a predetermined method that y'all going to use. Throw us in the beginning.
And that's why
And
it's important to have candidates that we trust, that we know that's going to tell us, oh, they're not bringing you in when you're supposed to bring you in, or speak up for us. Because if they're doing something shady from the start, then we have a problem. We have to make sure that because if we're checking them and we're following them like we're supposed to, we can pretty much tell when we're being played and we weren't brought in on the foundation of it.
mm. This that,
yeah,
that that could ride that right on to this next question. I'm gonna go back to one thing you said earlier too that applies to. Um, we talked about like the bottom line, right? And that's what news kind of referred to that. The bottom line when it comes to these dollars, man, that's when they'll tell you or say or do a press release or a commercial, whatever, because we have such control when it comes to that bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for one, feel like I don't know, man. You see a lot of these companies coming out now and they're saying, which, and that's great. But I still think we need to leverage that because at the end of the day, I wouldn't know if they care about us or not. What they do care about is that bottom line. And they're like, I'm not
yeah,
finna, we can't get on their bad side. No, let's say what we got to say, do what we got to do, not just to keep us around,
Mm-hmm.
and that's real. So I feel like we can't know that, see that, discern that, understand that, and not get something from it. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
At least let's get something from it. So do you feel Spartanburg is moving the needle in regarding injustice and disparities? You talked about the city versus county. Where's Spartanburg with that?
City, we are moving the needle. Our leadership is accessible. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've had problems that I've seen in the community with how the statistics has been brought up, and I've called and had conferences with our local city police. Now that's not easily to do with the county, because, like I said, our numbers aren't there yet. Because we have people that are in the county that just are silent and don't participate.
Mm,
Get organized with the city. That's that. We're coming for that county too. We're coming for some more seats on that county council, but we got to get organized within the city first. And whenever I'm vocal about anything in the city, I get messages from everywhere, from council members all the way up to the city manager, because we have a powerful city manager. Our mayor is like a deciding vote with the council, but city manager is really, you know, the nuts and bolts. That what drives it all. And he's never. I mean, I've never had a problem. Communicating with him, telling him when there's a problem with anything, or either not the police department either, not our local one, the city now, county. That's a different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, no, I agree with you. If you want to chime in on that, you have a good issue with them. I agree with that. Man, I don't know if we get enough credit for that in Spartanburg, man. Like, there's a lot happening, and there's a lot behind the scenes, and there's a lot we can tap into. Like, with the right understanding, knowing where to look, and making these right calls and getting this right information, I'm telling you, man, we could do some big stuff.
Right. And I think a lot of times it's separating the narrative of the city versus the county. Because to a lot of people, when you hear about Spartanburg, immediately the whole county gets brought into the equation. And just learning and being educated on, okay, leadership in the city, leadership in the county, resources in the city, resources in the county, it's two complete different pots.
Yeah.
I mean, two totally complete different pots. And when you dive in first into the city, you start seeing how things are more accessible. Especially, man, we have a black assistant city manager. I mean, a black,
very
Mitch
accessible.
Kennedy, very cool dude, and
easy to work with.
Yeah,
easy to get along with, easy to talk to. Our deputy chief, easy to talk to. Our chief of police, easy to talk to. These are, I mean, everybody, council members, state representative, easy to talk to. I mean, you can go to them with anything, and when you voice an opinion, they find a way to make it happen. They find a way to find a solution for it. That's I think it's Mitch always say solutions driven. So I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah. But one thing I do see in the city is with corporations and organizations, especially the CEOs are white. And you have white males and you have white females, right? That and it's a spirit of collaboration in Spartanburg. But when you talk about collaboration amongst CEOs, majority of them are white, right?
Yeah, we still have a problem there.
Yeah, so you still have a equity problem or exclusion problem, right? And so just diversifying leadership as well in organizations and corporations is big because we can say, oh man, we lit when it comes to collaboration, but still who's in the room, still who is represented in the room. So
and those boardrooms are very important. I mean, a lot of people don't understand how much power it is in the volunteer positions that our local government has. Boardroom, to get on inside the board when they tell you they need members on certain boards.
Tell us why. That's you're going right into our next news. Yeah. Look, what current boards and committees do you sit on? Why is it important for the community to stick together and be present at council meetings? I mean, that was literally, but we hit. So why is that so important? And what's the benefit? Kind of give us an example.
Well, okay, say like, okay, the 25-year plan is coming up. I'm head of the neighborhood association. You're gonna want to be a part of that, so you can have a say in what's going on.
That's Southside, right?
On South Converse neighborhood. We have different. I mean, really, whatever these different boards present, they decide on. Then those go to council and they're voted on. See, council gets a lot of slack, but they're basically voting on what's presented to them. The ordinance, like if someone comes up with some kind of petition saying they want a new ordinance, a new law made, that's what council was voting on. They're voting on whatever their constituent says they want. So that's why you need to have stuff. You need to have organizations and board behind the scenes, which is why I say that we need solidarity within the community. Because if there's something that we really want to see on the books, petition it, get enough signatures, and show up in numbers, and we'll see some action.
So you telling me we could get together, start making our moves, presenting them, and getting that, and then being in the room when it's being voted on, and then going back and holding those people accountable and making sure that. So you telling me that it starts with us?
It starts with us. We run the government. When we don't run the government runs itself. And when you're not looking at what's happening, it's just like kids. They do what they want to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You see the synergy, the power of the unity between the black community right now. I mean, we got organizations and corporations shaking in their boots. They do not want to be counseled. They do
exactly.
not because they know how it would affect them.
You about to lose your.
Right? You about
That one hit that.
yeah, they don't. And so you see the power of unity right now. And think about if we use this same energy, this same unity, and everything that we do, the type of power we can tap into. And I say tap
Exactly.
into because we been had it. This is nothing
Mm-hmm.
new. This is only awakening something that has been lying dormant inside of our community. All of these other races and groups of people have been able to tap into the type of power they have. And us as the black community having, I can say, and this is my opinion, our black dollar is the most powerful spending dollar right now.
Talk
We
Mm-hmm.
about it.
we are 13, 14% of the population in the US, but we spend 4% more than any other race. 4% more, but we're the
Mm-hmm.
most impoverished. So that tells us that we spend as black people more than we make, but
Mm-hmm.
our dollar is powerful. Our
Mm-hmm.
dollar is powerful. So if we can unify, we can tap into that power,
And
and
keep it
we can
circulating
mhm,
within our
keep it
community.
circulating. Yeah,
Talk about that right there. How does our
yeah.
dollar circulate? What? Six
So
hours?
yeah, six
Mm-hmm.
hours in the black community. But for the Asian community, the dollar circulates for 30 days, right? For the Jewish community, it circulates for 27 days. For the white community, 17 days. But for the black community, 6 hours. So that means after we get our paychecks in 6 hours, we support in a different race. Our dollar is going
Mm-hmm.
to a different race except for ours, right? For 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Six
And that's
hours, man.
and that shows a lot about our ownership too of the
There
things
you
that we
go.
don't have
That's the
Yeah,
ownership
yeah,
point
of.
right there.
We have businesses, but we don't have enough diverse businesses, and that comes from the capital not being there or the support. We need to learn how to support one another more. And sometimes that means spending two or three more dollars than what you would spend at a white corporation. That's why I need other people to understand. I need them to understand that Walmart may sell something cheaper because we don't have the vendors that Walmart do. We don't get cut those deals. So if you want um, black business to excel and you don't want to be taken over by corporations and gentrified out of your community, then sometimes that means paying a higher cost because you might be paying more now, but you'll win more later.
right,
It's
right.
And everybody else
it's all about playing. It's all about
yeah,
planning everything out.
right.
Yes, yes. Well, let's move this forward, man. This is exciting, and you can tell that we're really passionate about the community and these type of discussions. And so, Tony, real quick, uh, redlining has always been around. And redlining is basically discrimination amongst people of color, especially blacks, in which they limit the amount of uh, money we're able to get for housing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they deny us of different loans. And so they try to structure us and tell us, hey, you can only afford to be in this community, right? And so now you have 99, 98% of black people living in one community and it's impoverished, right? They do not have a grocery store. They do not have uh, immediate access to things they need in direct reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And man, I was raised in Northside, but I was in Highland, the community, all throughout my years of growing up. And Highland has the lowest median household income in Spartanburg, less than $9,000 per household. I mean, can you imagine someone taking care of one kid, two kids, three kids, out for $9,000 worth of income? And but that is real right here in one of our neighborhoods, right in Spartanburg. So how's that possible? You know?
Well, I always say that the projects was named that for a reason. um, the urban goes always back to urban renewal, and that's basically how it was designed. It was designed to they tore down our businesses. They made us not value home ownership by telling us that they can give us something better from a more affordable price. And I mean, even with and like when you brought up the red line and for them to entrap us into one community, well, right now they're reversing that and it's becoming gentrification. If you have you noticed that all of our affordable houses are mostly out in Boiling Springs and Duncan. They're not being built in the city. When for every 3 houses they built, we might get one that's affordable, and that's because of a deal that some council members made before they gave the developers a go ahead to do it. But we have people that were in low income areas in this community, so they won't be able to move back in the same numbers that they left. That's a problem, and that affects everybody. That's not just an effect in the people that's having to move out, but the people that already live there with their homes. Because then once you start building all these high price homes, the people that already had their homes, their taxes going to go up too. That's another problem. You have people that are retired and paid off their homes and they're living off their income affordable now, but if their taxes keep going up, then how they're going to afford to have them? And that's why we have these big old tax sales every year. People losing their homes.
And how much of a big part, because we talk about like redlining, and I didn't look at it privy to this conversation, but I think like maybe Compton, maybe LA, somewhere like that, I know was when it really kind of kicked off. And it has so much to do with the banks and mortgages, like we're talking about it. And I used to always think, and then I started hearing more and more conversation about it, about control that we could possibly have inside of banks. I mean, they're the biggest, to me, that's the biggest, they is the government. To me, I mean, the banks, you can root them to the very beginning of everything,
we can.
And what kind of power, what is maybe some strategies, or how important is that when it comes to access to that and being able to leverage, banks?
I mean, we protest everything. If we get organized and we protest and we tell these banks, well, we're not going to bank with you. We're going to go and there are black-owned banks. I mean, we can just take our dollars and put them there, put them in a credit union. If these people are not going to give us the loans to do what we have to do, then guess what? We just leave, take our money somewhere it's appreciated.
But it has to be unified, right?
It has to be unified.
Imagine if 200 of us had all of our money, mortgages, everything in one bank, and say, well, they need a loan, or we need to be able to get this building or this suite, and we need to, or we'll leave. Well, now we have power,
Right.
But the thing is, we don't have enough that even have a solid foundation. I mean, you can think about it in so many ways. I talk about like our counterparts, Caucasians' first shock of wealth in most cases is what? When somebody dies. It's life insurance.
Life insurance.
That's their first shock of wealth. And we, even the bare minimum of just having that is something that we have to, but again, it's information that we didn't always have or know was important. So it's about relearning and retraining our thinking, because even that should be a shock of wealth. And in most cases, it's the first shock of real debt to a lot of us. And that's backwards.
And just the generational wealth. Being able to know what it means that when somebody dies, that what you have to do to actually legally hold on to that property. I know a lot of people that haven't even probated their property, their estates yet, and not know that that gives the city, local government power to just come jack your property whenever they want to. That's fees. You can't really go and do anything with your property to build it up unless you have cash, because you can't mortgage it out if your name is not legally on it. We have to probate our properties too when somebody dies.
That's right. You can get living testaments. Right. I think living wills while you live. That way it makes it easier. You can avoid probate, or they do what's called escheat, I think it is, and that's what I'm taking.
If you have a living will, you have to go through probate, and it makes the process easier, so you don't have to actually, if it's willed to you, you don't have to split it. Or you can have trust, and that makes it easier. And some people don't have to go through probate for that.
That's what I wanted to say. There you go. That's it right there. Trust. That's okay. Yeah. See, that's good info. That's the.
It's good.
Next question. We got a couple more questions, guys. We got about less than 15 minutes, so we're gonna keep moving, y'all. Thank you guys again for holding on to Life Behind the Art with Toni Sutton here on the special edition Life Community. let me just keep going. All right. The age expectancy is watch this. Is 15-year age gap between residents who live 3 miles apart. So just 3 miles up the street, life expectancy changes that much from area code 29307 and 29303. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, 3 miles apart, everything changes. What all
That
changes to make
show education, lack of health, lack to healthy food, access to healthy food, healthcare, being built on Superfund sites. A lot of people don't know we have a lot of Superfund sites in Spartanburg. We have contaminated land. We have. I'm all the time telling people, you're looking at Flint, you need to be looking at Spartanburg too.
Wow.
We have. It's a lot of stuff that happens that we look at nationally. It's also an issue on a local level. We need to fight for getting things that education about health, mostly how to have a proper diet, go and get checkups and screenings, and that we have access to these for free. We have free clinics. We they operate on certain days. You can get health insurance. You can. I mean, I think some schools are even putting nurses and free access to healthcare for the kids in schools.
Wow.
And that's information. I mean, the lack of information, and more importantly to me, the lack of pertinency. Is that the right word? It's not important in our homes. You know what I mean? It never was a generation. And so it's a trickle effect, it's a snowball effect. And that's why conversations like this, having this information is important, because, I'm from 3 miles further you, and I'm not expected to live. I'm not expected to be healthy. I'm expected to be obese. I'm not expected to have health insurance, life insurance. I'm not expected to have a family doctor. Man, I remember my mom say, well, who's your family doctor? I said, what is a family doctor? I didn't even know. I didn't really understand that concept. I'm serious, like, what you mean? Like, that was to me like, stuff on TV, like, your family. It was never embedded.
We need more black doctors. I mean, I was so heartbroken when my black family doctor that took care of like 3-4 generations. My grandmother, my mother, me, and my children went to this one doctor. And when she retired, I was heartbroken. She was a black doctor. She actually knew my family history, so I didn't really have to tell her what could have gone with me, because she already knew. And I knew that I wasn't going to get another black family doctor after that. So after she retired,
see, that should be in our community.
More access.
Because that's what we spend our money on. Like we said, that 6 hours goes into that too. We spend our healthcare, all that. But what imagine if we had that stuff in our community as a strongly in our community, where it's not just, well, I know. No, we all know. And it starts becoming that way, man. This is just vital information. News, what you got?
It is. And we talk about 29307, which is mainly East Side, Converse Heights neighborhood. You have homes averaging around $200,000-$300,000 in that area. And we go to 29303, North Side, and some other areas, and we talk about the projects. We talk, but North Side is going through revitalization right now, right? But there's still a lot of lack of access to certain things, right? And so eventually, I hope that better access can come into narrow this age gap, because that's, man, it's 15 years for 3 miles apart. That's crazy. Healthcare, man, with Genesis is cool. I had a chance to meet with the CEO over there and the founder, and it's founded by a black man. And they have a black CEO. So with Genesis Healthcare, and it's not just for the low income. It's not just for people who do not have insurance. You can have Blue Cross Blue Shield and go to Regenesis. They have a family practice. They have a dental practice. They have mental health. All of these things. Even there's private practices that are led by black people, such as Vision Medical Healthcare.
That's right.
And I mean, these places are here in Spartanburg, right? and but
Mhm.
we have to be intentional about okay, what is black on here, and how can I utilize the services?
And
So,
we have to start
uh-huh,
utilizing them services because if you look at the statistics, more white people are diagnosed with the same kind of cancers that we're dying from because they're getting diagnosed earlier. They're getting the treatments and stuff earlier, and we catch it right when it's about at the end stage. We have to start being more proactive with our health.
Yep,
right,
that's right. Vision Medical Center, like you said, you're gonna see black owned, operated workers, black built it. I mean, from the rooter to the tutor, and imagine we're offering free COVID-19. Um, what you call it? Uh,
Test.
go get yourself checked, all that, right? For
Mhm.
COVID, but we didn't know.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I'm just the realest man. I just realized we didn't know. And man, so that's black owned, black operator. So these are the things
right.
that we need to know. This in information we need. Last before we get into our quick fire, what are your thoughts regarding today's politics? And that we know can be overused, but just in general, what are your thoughts?
I think it's transforming. I think that now that we see how the country has been ran and who I think Donald Trump might have been a necessary evil to get in office. So, because now we know that we can't just put anybody in there. We can't just let the government run itself. And now that we have to get active and start getting involved and start pushing people to run for office and actually backing them. I keep telling people, you don't know exactly what these candidates go through. It's a dirty game. And and it's a lot of stress just running for office. And by the time they get in there, they're already like, wow, what has happened to me? So we have to have our
Hmm.
candidates back. And I hate when races between black candidates get messy because it starts a divide in the community that we don't need. So when a candidate loses, they need to go ahead and either be quiet or throw your support behind that other black candidate
Mm,
because then it start. We already have a distrust for government in our community. We already have people that don't
mm.
want to get involved in the government in our community. When you start throwing salt out there on your competition and start saying what's going on with them that's imperfect because there's no perfect candidate, then you're adding to that divide. You're adding to people, to the youngsters that's not going to want to get involved because they're like, well, they're just like everybody else, and they're not going to want. It's broken. We're not going to fix it, but you can fix it.
Mm.
You can get in there and you can get active and you can be a different person to make sure that everything has oversight and lead it. Because I mean, if you don't like how it is, and at some point you're going to say, well, I'll do it myself. Then do that.
Right,
Wow, political
right.
ethics and just being above reproach when it comes to just the ethical and the right thing, and then even in the midst of losing or the mess that it is, continuing to say, you know what, I still have to back you, I still support
Right.
you,
Mm-hmm.
I still love you, and you're still with me, and we're
Mm-hmm.
still in this together because now I have an ally. You didn't win it, but I mean, I know, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If I play ball with somebody all the time, at least I know they might not be on the same team with me, but we can talk basketball though. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so you have an ally, and I think too many times we do just that. We cut each other off, and for so many reasons, for
Yeah.
so many things, man. And we
Mm-hmm.
trying to we's doing the same thing, and there's a lot of salons and businesses and all that. And I think the more we can back each other and then the more diverse we can come, the more original
I,
we can be.
I
It's
always say
That
there's
is
yeah,
enough dough for us all to make bread.
yeah.
Nobody
there
has
you
to.
It's
go. There you
enough.
go. There
It's
you go.
enough at the table. I like
Mm-hmm.
that Siege political ethics, and political ethics should be taught through a political mentor program.
Mm,
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so somebody catch that. And so politicians that are black or people of color should have a set number of young folks who have
Mm-hmm.
aspirations of running for politics in the future, right?
mm,
And while they
Mm-hmm.
are in the 2 year, 4 year terms in the seat, they are sharing knowledge with the young folks, prepping them and preparing them for when their time comes to run for office. That's why there can be a streamline, a pathway, a pipeline of qualified,
Mm-hmm.
ethical, black, energetic folks that will fight for our rights in their seat. Right.
And
That's
don't have
so
to keep
real. We
starting
apply
and
that
out.
don't
to
have to start.
we apply
Mhm.
that to everything else. Look at Little League football. Burns, Fort Howard, right? They run the same system since Pop Warner, so that they are ready to carry that by the time they get to high school, right? And now that's why all these high schools are using the same system they're using in colleges, and we should apply that on down because that we can understand that we can. It becomes a part of it. We have to become a part of it, and it's sad that there are so many black politicians that are young that without a change in that will never know that's who they were.
Yeah.
Won't even walk into it. You'd be surprised on how many people start doing things because it becomes offered to them, because it
Yep.
becomes an option for them.
When
You see
that
what I'm
leader
saying?
sees something into you, when that leader sees something in you and says that you're the one, and we're going to pour into you, so you know that you don't have to start all over. Let's pass the baton to the next person
Right.
that can carry that marathon on and keep on making us. Because if not, we're going to keep starting over, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what policies has been passed or what's the strategy to get us to the next level. That has to come from the generation before us that's in leadership, or we're going to be lost.
Right.
Tony, you
Right.
were
And you
just,
think
man, listen, this has
this
been a
is
phenomenal
amazing.
conversation, man. We're gonna wrap this up, guys, because we like to keep it what we say we're gonna keep it. But Tony, man, you have before we end, we're gonna do something real fast and then news, and you can have a closing statement, Miss Tony. Okay. Just again, thank you for what you have done,
Yeah.
what you continue to do. Please keep pressing, keep being our news. We have some big news. We coming also. So y'all, I won't say anything right now, but you guys just stay tuned, okay? Because we're working. We are putting something in place as we speak that I think is going to be exactly what this community needs. And I'm just going to leave it right there. But just know the information is going to be readily available to you. So it's coming. Just hold on, y'all. It's coming. So again, thank you, Tony. We got some quick fire questions. Okay, here's your rules. Here's the rules. Okay, you can have no more than one sentence answers. Okay, one sentence.
Okay.
Okay, some of them just gonna be yes or no. That'll be pretty easy. One sentence. You got to go really, really quickly. You ready? We're gonna pop them off.
Okay.
Quick fire questions. Are you ready? You ready, news?
Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna go with them. Here we go. Quick fire for Tony Sutton. One. Would you take $75,000 reparation check or a lifetime of 850 credit score?
Ooh. 850 credit score.
850 credit score. Wow. Quick.
Because it was a lifetime score, that means I can mess it up and I can still get whatever.
Okay.
Would you rather... Go ahead.
Quick fire 2. Would you rather learn how to garden or eat unlimited fast food for the rest of your life?
Garden. No, that's my life. I love gardening.
Okay. You don't got to pay for the food, though.
Yeah.
Garden, that's right.
Okay.
That's something I think we need to learn how to do, too. I want to learn, so maybe you continue. So
Right.
I have no idea. All right. Question
That's
number
good.
3. If you could change one thing about Spartanburg in one sentence, what would it be? One sentence.
Solidarity. Solidarity amongst my community.
Okay.
That's good. Quick fire 4. Is politics an inevitable failure?
If we don't have oversight, it is. I really do think if we let it keep going the way it is, yes.
Okay. Next. Have you ever been Have you ever been blocked from an elected official's social media?
Yep, I've been kicked out the county by Chuck. Chuck blocked me.
I'm sorry.
Chuck blocked.
Chuck blocked
Oh,
me.
Anybody who follows Tony knows.
Well,
Okay, just keep going.
All right. Quick fire. In one sentence, what's next for us, for the Black community?
Organization. Once we get organized, we can move forward, and there's nothing stopping us.
Wow.
Oh man, that's it, man. That's it. Listen, Tony, you have been amazing. This is Life Behind the Art Special Edition. We are coming back Tuesday with a special guest. Man, we're gonna keep this thing going. Thank you guys for taking your time and watching.
Right.
We really, really appreciate you. A lot coming with Elephant Group. Again, man, continue to look out.
Right.
Boss Moves drops on the 26th. Al Harris' new single. Video shot by Smith the Lee drops on the 26th. Man, make sure you guys tune into that. Go ahead and pre-order that thing right now. Get your kids on bossacademy.com. You know, we have our online services that just launched. We got some special things coming up with Miss Sutton here. We are Elephant Group IMC.
That's right. And I'm Terrence House and Tony. Real quick, shout out your social handles, your social media, real quick, so the people can follow you.
Toni Sutton. That's my Facebook page. I have Sipping Tea with T. As my page that I share information on, and that's also my page. Sipping Tea with T is also my page on Instagram.
Nice. So people, remember to get plugged in. Like Toni Sutton page. Follow her, man. She drops amazing information for the community to hear. It's important that everyone is involved in politics and the local community, from protesting to seat at the table. Every position, everyone role is important, right? So make sure you do your part, because we need you, and it takes solidarity, it takes organization for us to truly make a change. We have seen crumbs and bits and pieces of it, and I want to be able to see the full sandwich, right? I want to be able to take a bite of a full sandwich when it comes to organization and solidarity from the Black community and our allies. So Toni Sutton, man, thank you so much for your knowledge.
Thank you.
Y'all keep the fight alive. Hey, support Black businesses. Go eat black and all that. I'm going to Jerky D's in the morning. They breakfast is crazy, though. You know what I mean? I had an atomic dog fish sandwich the other day, smoking wings, lemonade. Listen.
Oh yeah.
Support.
Oh yeah. Remember Juneteenth. Juneteenth is tomorrow, so y'all celebrate, learn more about Black history, support Black businesses, and just celebrate Black power and Black luxury.
And inbox me for cookouts. Inbox me. I'm hungry. I want to come. Okay, I'm come. Okay, inbox me. Hey man, support. Get y'all shirt. Sword. I had to do it. New sword. All right, y'all. We out.
We
Love
out.
y'all.
All right.
See, your problem is you can't see from that floor you on. You ain't know what was coming. We seen it though. Ow!
Entrepreneur status, we cut from a different fabric. I still remember hiding that stuff in the kitchen cabinet. The label really started from nothing and made magic. Now we seem to get attention, it's like the parade passing. Wave, when it's pertaining to business, you gotta tag us. Creating our own resource, grateful to pay taxes. A different bracket, and believe me, I ain't bragging. I'm just glad that I achieve things you could only imagine. Signed to a label, fit for a king clothing. We had it up for purchase, quick as the store.